Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on Satoshi Central. I am your host Maddie, and as always I hope you are having a lovely day filled with lots of love and joy. So just to jump right into it, today I wanted to make kind of like a part 2 of yesterday's video about my mistakes in Bitcoin. I feel like I was able to identify those mistakes with you guys, which I do want to touch a little bit more on, as well as what I'm working on now to get to my goals due to the hindrance of those mistakes. So we'll just dive a little bit more deeper into like the solutions that I've provided for myself now and the work that I'm putting in now. So for my first mistake yesterday, I had mentioned that I felt like I wasn't studying enough, which was very valid. You know how they say there's like those 5 stages of grief, and like I believe like what like the first or second stage is denial. Well, I feel like that's kind of where I was at. Like, as I mentioned before, and another great thing that I hear Jerry say all the time is that you kind of have to unlearn something before you can learn a new way. We have to like uncondition our mind to be able to perceive things differently. And I feel like that was the middle ground that I was in. I like was understanding those problems. I understood that this was a great solution, but I was in this middle ground of like being pulled to each side, you know, like, and obviously I wasn't being pulled towards the problematic side. I knew it was a problem, but when your mind is mentally conditioned for something, you kind of have subconscious tendencies that you're used to. So I had a lot of unlearning to do. And great thing, I happen to be a very quick learner, and I am still very young. I'm just glad that I was able to catch on to everything and not stay stuck in that denial phase for so long, because like I said, I knew the solution. I was just so used to a certain way of living, and I had to realize it was all like a figment of my imagination. It was something that I was made to believe was normal. Like, I mean, just something simple as eating habits. Like, we eat a lot of unhealthy food, but in our head we're like, oh, this is yummy. So it's like kind of like temporary satisfaction at the time, you know. And one thing I've learned about Bitcoin is it doesn't provide you that quick fix temporary satisfaction, and that is why it's a perfect solution. That is why Satoshi built it the way he did, for the blocks to be mined like with that great amount in the beginning and then slowly decreasing over time, because that's how things should be. Good things take time, and we know that. If it's quick and easy, we know that that is not worth it. Quick and easy is never worth it. So I had to get over that like quick fix temporary mindset and really ask myself, what do I want for myself in my future? Do I want a long-term solution or temporary satisfaction? Because that's all money is. You are working every day and then you spend it within the 2 weeks, whether it's on your bills or maybe your weekend where you think you're getting away from work and you go have fun. Like, it's a whole mindset that's instilled in everybody. Like, it's modern day society now. You work those 5 days a week, and then your weekend is your escape, where you spend your, you know, a couple $100 on a fun activity, supposedly. And what are those fun activities? Just more distraction, right? Distraction from the fact that you're a sheep playing in a little game. So I really had to break myself out of that cycle. I told myself I did not want temporary satisfaction. I wanted long-term success, long-term stability, not only for myself and my future, but for my loved ones and my family that I want to build. I want to build a family in a sustainable environment, in a sustainable economy. Like, who wants to struggle? I don't want to be worried about whether I'm going to be able to pay my bills or whether I'm going to be able to eat or pay for gas. Like, on top of it, like feeling bad that I am not able to have fun, which is all just a distraction wrapped up in one present. No. And that last part where the last straw for me was when I sold that Bitcoin. After everything I was learning for myself, it felt very empowering to find a way that wasn't tied to control, that wasn't tied to temporary satisfaction, that was that long-term solution for me. It felt so amazing. And when I sold that Bitcoin, like I said, it was kind of like a wake-up call for me, and it changed my whole mindset on everything. I realized like it's now or never. Like that seed was definitely planted, and it's my job to water it. It's my job to grow it into the beautiful flower that it has the potential to be. Without my, work to put into it, I'm not gonna get anywhere. So I realized that, and it drove a whole new conscious way of being for me. Not only was it feeling like a spiritual awakening, it was just a whole learning lesson overall. We know that Bitcoin checks off a lot of our worldly problems, and that's why it's so great. So that's just my little input on kind of like the spiritual awakening it had for me. But beside that, financially speaking, like I said, I had to sell all that Bitcoin, and now I'm working 2 times harder. So I was buying every hour on the hour, getting over 100 Satoshis for the amount that I was putting into it. And now I buy 2.5 times that. So it's kind of like crazy. Like I'm putting not 2 times, 2.5 times the work in, because I really feel like I'm grasping and understanding the way now. And I'm really glad that I was given this opportunity again. Because the seed was always going to be there, but I really just had to keep asking myself, is this the lifestyle that I'm going to be okay with living? And it wasn't. I sold those Satoshis and I was like, I just gave in. Like I knew all the research I was doing, like I said, and like it felt like all my work had been undone, and it was very heartbreaking because it felt like I said the only sustainable way out. And then I realized like the only way out is within. It was all my fault. Like I'm the one who has to put in that work to get to where I need to be. Whether I want to blame society, because I mean it has, built up a wall against us. I can blame society, I can blame my bills, I can blame anything outside of me if I want to. But at the end of the day, none of those things are gonna work for me. They work against me. So if I'm gonna sit here and keep being the victim of my life, nothing is gonna change. That is the whole point. They have created a victim mindset to instill control. So I asked myself, how do I take my power back without destroying everything that I built? And this is the way, putting in the time, the money, like the fiat money, because we know it's not the real money, putting in the energy for a higher purpose, for a bigger goal, for a long-term vision, which I now understand and I'm willing to work every day for. Like I said, I'm setting aside those maybe 1 to 2 hours in the day just to study. I wake up, I read my book. Before I go to sleep, I watch videos on Bitcoin. I try to talk to my mentor throughout the day, ask him as many questions as I can, because I don't want to be a sheep. I don't want to be stuck in this way of, this lifestyle that was created to control. That is not who I am or who I will be. So we are here to drive a new way, and we will. And I understand that now. Even if I have to work 2 times harder, even if I had to work 5 times harder, I would still do it, because I know that my vision is aligned and I know who I want to be. And now I know who I don't want to be. So there's that as well. So yeah, that's kind of just my input on my learning lessons, because like I said, it was an awakening for me overall, a spiritual awakening, mental awakening, physical awakening. I didn't want to keep investing my time and energy into something that was not helping me grow, something that was not flourishing my well-being. And it would have never worked out. I would have kept questioning what was wrong, thinking I was the problem when I was never the problem. Now I can find the solution and be the solution, but I have to do that for myself first, which I realize, and I am so beyond grateful for everything that I've learned thus far with my journey in Bitcoin, my journey in life. It's all just been very beautiful, and I can't be more grateful for everything that I've learned, and I wouldn't change anything. I know I said yesterday that it was a huge regret of mine, and of course, like, since I don't want to sell any of my Bitcoin now, it's something that I wish I didn't do. But at the end of the day, if I live in regret, then I'm not going to be able to identify everything that I was able to gain from those lessons. I want to forgive myself for everything I did, because it did drive a new power and a new will within me to move forward. And that's what I will continue to do here with you guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit more today about everything that Bitcoin has done for me, because it's so much more than a money. It drives a whole new life, a whole new way of being. And it's so sustainable for everybody, because most of our problems are all linked to one thing. Like, when I was watching Jerry's video, it really moved me, because it reminded me of one of our first conversations that we ever had. It was actually that first day that I met him, and I was talking to him about all the worldly problems. I told him I wanted to be an addiction counselor at one point, because I saw how addiction was overtaking this world. I wanted to, have my own homeless shelter, because I didn't think that anybody belonged on the street. I wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to be a doctor. Like, that's still my passion. All of these are still my passions. And at the end of the day, like, I realized that they're all linked to one real problem. And it's the fact that there is a system that is built against everybody instead of helping everybody grow and flourish. I had another beautiful conversation with a man working at an adult daycare. We used to try to help the homeless as well. So he came in there, and I don't want to get too much into his personal story. He did have addiction problems. He was homeless. But after talking to him and having a real conversation with him, he told me that he used to be a financial advisor. He was in Chicago, and he went to school to learn about money, and he was just like, the way that he was talking, it wasn't somebody who was just pulling things out of thin air, it was somebody who was educated. Like, how like a Bitcoiner talks, they see, like, how I'm gonna mention Jor again, like somebody who has their green light on, like, not even necessarily within Bitcoin, but within the worldly problems. And this man knew, and he told me that he chose to be homeless because he refused to contribute to a system that was built off of lies and deception. And that just absolutely broke my heart and showed me there is a way bigger evilness at play here and problem. He had checked all the categories of things I wanted to help, and I don't want to say it like that because I don't want to box him in. Within the addiction, the homelessness, the mental problems, because he used to talk to himself, like, beyond all of that, he was a very smart man who was deceived by the world. And I think we all just need to do better. We are the ones driving the change. We are the ones who are going to help turn on people's green light. We are the ones in Bitcoin who are going to drive this revolution. It's the only way. And now I see that. I can't sit here and be an addiction counselor anymore. I can't sit here and, I don't want to say play it small, because at the end of the day, it's more about like, I don't want to spread myself too thin, which is something my mentor told me not to do as well. That you can't always be a jack of all trades. I want to be able to invest myself into everything, but all of these problems have a root cause, and that's what I talk about in medicine. At the end of the day, these are all just symptoms. They're symptoms of a root cause problem. A society built on corruption. So, we will fix that with financial freedom, personal freedom, mental freedom. And the best way to do that is going to be Bitcoin. Now I know, and now you guys know my story. I will get there to help everybody understand the enemy that is at play here. Because it is not us against each other. We only win if we help each other and we become a community again and realize that we are all one. Love thy neighbor. So yeah, I know I kind of got into a little rant, guys. It's just very much from my heart, and I want everybody to understand that it isn't just about money. It's about everything. It's life or death for real. Because you're either gonna live fighting for what you believe in, or me, I'm gonna die trying, or you're going to die at the hands of a system that was built to make you be a slave forever. And I don't want to lose to a system that was built against me. I don't want to lose to a system that was built off of seeing me suffer so that I didn't realize the power within myself. I want to realize the power within myself, and I want to drive that power within everybody, because we all have that light. Each and every one of you watching this video have that light, have that drive, have that passion. Go out there and change somebody's life today. We all have the power to do that, even with just our words. So if you're watching this and you make videos, you never stop making your videos and sharing your message. Everybody has something to say. So I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for being part of this revolution, and we will drive a new way. We are driving a new way, and this is the only way. It is not a new way. It has always been the way that we were not able to see. So we will get there together. My next video is going to be a little bit more about me diving into my cold storage. So I did mention my passport from foundation in my previous video. I showed you guys what it looked like. I do want to dive a little deeper into what I have learned about cold storages and why it is so important to have your Bitcoin in personal custody. So we'll go ahead and talk about that in the next video, because I feel like it deserves its own video, and this one got a little too passionate. So thank you guys all for staying till the end. We will also be starting that Bitcoin series where I will be kind of giving a summary of every chapter of my Bitcoin standard that I'm reading, just to have everybody on my journey and for myself in future reference. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.